What it do, baby? It's your boy, Mr. Prophytes Be Like, here on the Prophytes Be Like podcast. And we are back after a little hiatus, We finally back with our 36th episode. It's been some things going on ever since we aired our last episode. But I had to bring it back real jiggy with it. I got to bring back the music. Wiggity wow. Hey, we back. We also have guests on here as well. Desmond, Jordan, two black nerds in the building. What's up? How y'all doing?
You're
doing well, man. Doing well.
I'm all right.
Jordan, you done inherited that New York culture so much.
I guess.
It's crazy, man. What's up? How y'all doing?
Hey, man, doing really well. Happy to be here. Really, really excited to just, come through, chat it up real quick. But doing well, man. Thanks for bringing us on.
For sure. Desmond, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Too blessed to be stressed, taking it one day at a time. Can't complain, man. Happy to be here.
The only way to do it. But no, once again, appreciate y'all for coming. This is the episode 36 of the Prophytes Be Like podcast. So if you're listening to it on your favorite podcast platform or watching it on YouTube, this is the first video on YouTube. Thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now let's get into it. Desmond, Jordan, you both are members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Yes, sir.
Hey, 06. Well, Desmond, Jordan and I go back to high school. So, and Jordan, you know, still sure. Yeah, that was actually 06 too.
Yeah.
When we first got to high school. Desmond, you mind, giving off your info, letting people know why Alpha, and then Jordan, you next after Desmond goes.
Yeah, I'm a member of the Capital chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha over at Kansas State University. Across Spring 13, man, and I am a deuce as well, across the line of 4. Our SS Resilient out here, that was our ship name. But man, why Alpha? It's the greatest brotherhood known to man. To be honest, everyone does their research, and it was pretty obvious after doing research what was the easiest and best way to go. A little outside of that, man, I had some people I looked up to from high school. I went to Sumner Academy, who were older than me, who also went to K-State, ended up being Alphas themselves. So, man, it was kind of a no-brainer the way they carried themselves post Alpha, the way I had already knew them, combined with the amazing roster that Alpha breeds, man, in greatness. It was just easy peasy after that to join again the greatest brotherhood in the world. So that's why Alpha for me.
For sure. Jordan, what's up? Talk to us.
Oh, man. Well, we both went to Mizzou at the exact same time as you said. And I think arriving to campus, I didn't really have any idea about Greek life. I just only sort of knew and heard about it through maybe a couple of conversations and then just like what you see in the media, which often is very wrong. And so you get to college campuses and kind of see how that whole experience is. And I said, wow, this is like really incredible. Like, they seem like they do like really dope stuff. And I was just very interested in just like learning more about Greek culture, Black Greek culture in general. And that just took me down a rabbit hole. You start to see sort of the distinctions between all the organizations, and similar to what Des just said. I mean, you just start to really see all of the unparalleled individuals who've come across in Alpha and didn't even realize it growing up. Like all of these men that I've heard about or looked up to or read in history books, like were very prominent men and part of this organization. And then to distill it down to more personal reasons as well, I think a brotherhood was something that I really longed for a really long time. Grew up an only child, was raised that way. And so had close friends, of course, but always wanted to really have a better understanding of what it meant to lean on a brother, have to sacrifice for a brother, give up things that you would even want for yourself in order to make sure that they felt attended to or felt like that they had the things that they needed. Just get a better sense of that. And I felt like that, Alpha and Zeta Alpha specifically at the University of Missouri could provide that for me. And it did, many, many times over, sort of showcase what the true meaning of brotherhood meant. And so that whole experience just like took me across, and it was certainly worthwhile, that entire time, and certainly one of the best decisions I ever made.
Yes, indeed. And let them know when you crossing your club.
Yeah, that was spring 2012, as they say, the real 12 Deuce Club, So it was an incredible time at the University of Missouri, spring 2012.
Hey, well, one thing we all got in common is, ain't no line without a deuce. So
You already
Hey,
know,
tell
man.
him.
ain't nothing to it
Tell
but to
him.
do it. Hey, but going back to that real 12, I'm finna explain that real quick. So I'm fall
Let them
12.
know.
Jordan is spring 12. So whenever there's we have two ships in the same year type thing. Um, so for example, Jordan, he's fall 14's dean. So whenever, they would have to call spring 12 the real 12 because of course that's their dean. Spring 16, my ace was their dean. So he had to call fall 12 the real 12. So it's a, playful beef between whatever year you cross and you say the real 12. So but for real, we all know that fall 12 is a real 12. But
Well, okay.
I'm
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna let Jordan have this one today for the
yeah.
sake of him coming on here. I appreciate him coming on this podcast. So
Nah, it's all love, man. It's
yeah,
all love
yeah,
for
it's
our
always
base.
all love for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. I love Spring 12. Y'all my homies, man. Like, and to be honest, bro, like I always think of us. Granted, we didn't all cross together, but I think of us all as like the same ship because we all came to Mizzou together. We
Yeah.
still close knit, things of that nature. So, it's all love for Spring 12, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
no, absolutely. I totally agree, man. I mean, we were all, sort of in it at the same time. As you said, many of us went to the same high schools, came from the same neighborhoods at home, knew mutual people, even if we didn't directly know each other. So it was just a changing of the guard in 2012. I think the whole campus kind of saw that was going to really usher in a new era for Greek life and for Alpha specifically. So it was a beautiful time.
Definitely, for sure, for sure. Let's get back into y'all though. So, how did y'all meet, and how did two black nerds come about?
Well, I guess I can hop in about the meat part,
Mhm.
and how we sort of connected. I mean, it was through Alpha, which, again, is no surprise. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Des, but I believe the first time we officially met, because we had been to K-State before, but I remember like when
Yeah.
we went, it was during their black and gold pageant. So it was a lot going on. You know how black and gold
Yep.
runs. It's just like a crazy time. But I think the first official time was actually at Fall 14's probate, and a lot of bros just decided to really come down and support, of course, within Missouri. But then I started to hear like, oh yeah, K-State talking about coming. It was like, oh wow, this is like really starting to spread. And they made that trip down and met Des and other bros from that chapter, and we connected, and then connected again, of course, like we had sort of our after party celebration for the boys,
Yep.
and chopped it up
Mhm.
there. And then we had already followed each other mutually on social media and stuff like that. So we were already connected that way. It's a pretty, small community where you get to know people, and just kept in touch that way. Right. And then I think a lot of that just transferred over into the energy of like moving and graduating college and figuring out where you're going to go. And we both ended up in New York, then, and that's, sort of like how things transitioned to get us starting to talk about, some common interest and things that we wanted to maybe try to do in terms of like working together. So that was, sort of the transition point between us meeting versus like the start of the podcast, Two Black Nerds.
KT, bros, Capital. I wish we still had that like Mizzou K State connection. I don't think it's there no more. But it was
Man,
definitely
Yeah,
strong when we were all in school, for sure.
low key Greek life is just kind of dying in
Yeah.
general, specifically at K State. The
that's a
numbers
question,
are,
man.
woo,
Really?
that's a
Yeah,
whole nother, that's a whole nother topic. The numbers across the board have been, it's just sad. A lot, so many people graduate out so fast now, and then it's like, well, there's one AKA on campus, and there's one Zeta, and there's one Alpha. It's crazy how it's going down right now. So it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, for sure. So when did y'all both move to New York?
So I first moved here in 2016. That was when I first got out here. It was right after I finished grad school at Mizzou.
Okay.
Yeah, I interned for my job summer 2018, June 2018, and I actually came back June 2019 and started working full time. I think
Okay.
that's the timeline.
Gotcha. And where do you work?
I work at the New York Times.
New York Times. And Jordan, tell the people where you work.
I'm currently at Paramount working for BET Networks right now. Been there for a little bit over a year now.
So also let's backtrack to what you both majored in. You mind sharing that and um how that, translates to what you do today, and then also to Two Black Nerds.
For sure.
Yes.
So I majored in journalism at Mizzou.
The number one journalism school in America, I should say.
There you go. You know, it was an easy sell. Went to visit campus and was like, oh wow, they have something that like actually interests me, because I knew it wasn't going to be anything STEM related, which is, my comrade here is much more equipped with that. But I went to journalism, focused in on sort of communications, advertising. And then I went to grad school for education, higher education. And so wanted to figure out a way immediately after grad school how to bring those two things together. So that took me down sort of a higher education marketing route for about 5 years. And so did a lot of digital marketing, social media work within higher education. But ultimately, passion was always in the entertainment industry, media, things of that nature, which led me to switch industries and now become a part of the BET Networks team. And Two Black Nerds, that's an obvious connection, just always, connecting that passion back to entertainment, film, TV, things of that nature.
Yeah, for sure. Desmond?
Man, so when I first went to college, I actually majored in computer engineering is where I started.
Yeah.
And man, I thought it was it, man. I knew it was the moneymaker, but it was boring. Let me tell you. And so I actually ended up after a couple of years switching my major. I was in school a very long time. I actually ended up switching my major to computer science, which a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, it sounds so similar to computer engineering." It's not the same at all, low key. It's very, very, very different. Computer engineering a little more electrical based. Computer science is a little more fun, right? The Googles, the Facebooks, all those things.
Yeah.
And so I graduated again, I think like 2019. And I was actually part of this program called Code 2040. And they take African American and Latinx students and kind of pair them with really good internships in the summer. So that's how I landed the gig at New York Times, actually. I applied to that program, got New York Times as a computer, as a software engineer, actually, and ended up getting that full time. And just a little, I guess, a tidbit, when I first got to New York, Jordan let me stay with him. I think that was a big moment for Two Black Nerds. I think he let me stay with him both in 2018, a little bit for that summer, and 2019 when I first got to New York full time, man. And so I think that time spent together definitely also helped shepherd what Two Black Nerds was going to come to be. We had always talked online, and I could always see Jordan from afar, like, this dude kind of he's kind of like me. he knows these things kind of the same way I know these things. But then when I start living with him and I seen, of course, the collection he has, I was like, nah, we're the same person. Like we should figure something out about this thing. So yeah, all that was kind of intertwined that way.
Yeah. So with that, how did Two Black Nerds come about? Were y'all just in a room like, hey, let's just start talking about movies and entertainment and things of that nature? How did that blossom?
I mean, the way that I remember it is, because everybody always has their own, sort of interpretation of it, but it was all positive for sure. But I think the way that I remember it, a lot of what Des just said, we were just having conversations like, that those summers were. I mean, those were just good times, because we're working, but we're also having a lot of fun. We're going out, just hanging out, experiencing summer in the city. All of that stuff is still super brand new for us. And I know, two people really, I mean, all three of us, being from the Midwest, like you get to a place like New York City and you're just like groaning out here and actually got like a little money to your name and you working. It's like, oh, we can kick it and have fun. But then, of course, conversations come up. And as Des said, we would just talk about a lot of the same stuff where it's like, oh, yeah, we're both into movies and music and wrestling and video games. And we just have those conversations. And I do remember at that time being somewhat hesitant about committing to really doing anything, because I had had a couple of experiences of like, oh, let's like start this and let's like launch this and maybe we can work together on this. And I would always like entertain those ideas, but they always would maybe start, get a little momentum, and then just kind of stop. And so I was kind of over having, sort of my hopes or expectations up for something that wasn't going to last that long. And so I do remember us like having a conversation and saying like, okay, well, we can talk about doing it, but if we're going to do it, then we should probably really do it and like really commit to it and make sure that we're consistent with it. And we both were like, yeah, look, it should be easy enough. We're both here, we're both, making sure that we're staying up to date on these things. And so once we just got that cadence going, it just kind of kept going from there. I will say the pandemic tried to halt a lot of stuff and really almost derailed many of the plans, because it's like, well, what are we going to talk about? But luckily, I think we both we still had a passion to come back and still want to continue to do the work of having the the podcast and making sure that we try to build a community that way.
Definitely. Des, is that how you remember it?
Yeah, man. That's all sounds pretty accurate to me for the most part. It was just, again, one of those things where our conversations, we were doing Two Black Nerds before Two Black Nerds was a podcast. Like, we were literally just sitting in Jordan's room and we'd watch a movie, or we just talk about movies. And again, it was just a realization, like, why are we recording some of these conversations? Because we're similar in the way that we can go, I think, beyond the surface level of talking about a lot of this material, especially, I don't know, it's like the little stuff that other people don't understand that you might talk about too, that Jordan just got and I just got, and it was like, oh yeah, this should be a thing. So it's that was pretty accurate, everything he said.
Yeah, definitely. And from what I see, y'all don't miss a movie at all, man. Like, I swear y'all in the movie theater every day. Hey, we just watched Super Mario Brothers. This is what we thought. We just watched John Wick 4. This is what we thought. I'm like, dang, the movie ain't even out yet. Y'all haven't seen it. Dang, what's up with that, man? No, I'm just kidding. But no, y'all doing your thing, man. I like to tune in and see what y'all talking about. And to be honest, that's how I catch up on some stuff. And if I miss something, I go to y'all page to see, okay, let me see what happened here, to see what they thought, to make sure I ain't missing nothing, So I appreciate those, those deep dives and those reviews, so that I can, like, refresh myself, because I don't know about y'all, but I go whenever, like, for example, Marvel movies, when they're still in theaters, I go see them more than once. Because I'm always missing something. And whenever I go see it the second or third time, I finally catch whatever I didn't catch the first or second time around.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a great point too, because I mean, there's a lot to always see, and I mean, trust me, even with as much as we watch and cover, we're still missing stuff. We talk about it all the time, like every single week. We're like, dude, how are we going to catch up with this stuff that we gotta that we gotta watch? But one of the things that is, like, really important, I think, for us when we have those conversations, as Des said, like, to go really deep into whatever it is that we're talking about. And like in the case of a Marvel movie or a superhero movie, or sometimes even like other bigger movies that we feel like warrant that type of conversation, like, we know, yeah, we're probably going to have to see this a couple times, because it's going to be required to pick up those details that you just can't get off of memory. You quickly kind of forget a lot of that stuff, especially if you are consuming a lot. And so it is important to make sure that when we come to the show, when we come to the pod, we feel like we're well equipped to really talk about something and to dive deep. And so even outside of seeing the movie, I know both of us are spending time reading and watching, videos and other things, and using also just like that inherent knowledge that we might have of, like, other material that could possibly relate to what we're talking about. Because it all informs the conversation at the end of the day. And that's what it's about, trying to bring the best conversation about whatever it is that we're covering on a given week.
Definitely. So, let's get into Marvel movies. First, before I ask this question, what's your favorite Marvel movie of all time?
Oh man, come on! You can't ask. That's like,
all right. Top five.
Top five. I'll give you. I can do top three.
Top three.
But I'm gonna think about it. Des, you go first. I gotta think about that.
No, that is hard. And I know whatever I say is probably going to be wrong right now. And then I'll be like, dang, I should have said something else. Favorite Marvel movies of all time, man. Infinity War has to be up there. I think that movie is just nuts. That's definitely one. Marvel movie, man. This is really hard. Let's do Guardians 1. I really love the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
Tremendous movie, bro. Like, 10 out of 10. And then I'm gonna get outside the MCU real quick and just say, people know I'm a nerd in terms of, I really like Blade. So I'm gonna say Blade, man. I'm gonna say Blade.
Okay.
Blade is iconic for sure. Top three for me, I think I would agree about Infinity War. I just so vividly remember the whole experience of that movie, the lead up to it, just the pure excitement, actually seeing it the shocking ending, the conversation for the next year. It's kind of like those once in a lifetime moments and events that you don't really experience that often. I would also put in there Captain America: The Winter Soldier as another one, which is interesting because I remember the first time I saw that movie, Javon, you'll probably find this funny. It actually was during Alpha Week of that particular year that it came out, and
Wow.
I made a terrible mistake of seeing that movie on the Saturday morning of Alpha Week. And you know, at the end of Alpha Week, we are completely gassed, like no
Yep.
energy left at all. And I fell asleep the first time I saw it, which, you know, never really happens, especially at that age. And it wasn't because the movie was bad or anything. I was just literally exhausted. So I
Yeah.
had to go back and see it again. And I was like, Jesus, I just missed probably one of the best movies that they ever made. And then I went and saw it again and again. I saw it like 3 more times. So that was a great win. And then the last one, if I want to get out of like the MCU specifically, as well, I would throw in Spider-Man 2 from 2004, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man
Ah.
2 with Doc Ock. I also remember going to see that like as a young kid and thinking like,
Mhm.
wow, this is what a superhero movie could feel like, and seeing them sort of taken into places that hadn't really been done before on a dramatic level. It was kind of an eye opener for me at that time.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think for me, excluding the Infinity War and Endgame, because those movies are just goaded. I'm gonna go with Age of Ultron. That's one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Huh.
Age of Ultron. I liked it a lot,
Mhm.
especially when in Endgame when Captain America picked up that hammer. Go back to Age of Ultron when he
Great
tries to pick up.
callback.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Man, I was like, wow, like that was and that's one of my favorites for sure.
yeah.
Um, I want to say Winter Soldier too. Specifically, just well, no, actually, I take it back. Civil War. Civil
Mm,
War would be up there with me too. And of course, I want to put Black Panther in there just off GP,
of
but
course.
Yeah, can't
um,
go wrong.
but though that might be my top three. If I push it out to five, I'm gonna go the first Iron Man. I really love
Hmm.
that movie, the introductory,
Yes.
and then Thor Ragnarok. I
Oh
really
yeah.
Yes.
enjoy Ragnarok. That was
Mhm.
that was a good movie as well.
All
Um,
great picks, man.
yeah, for
Got
sure.
taste. You got taste,
A
sir.
little some, I can't help but see all the DVDs and stuff in your background, man. I feel like you've been collecting for a long time.
Yeah, long time. I mean, it's been something that I've always done since I was young. Like even when I didn't have money or a job, like my mom would give me money if I saw something. She'd say like, "Yo, get one thing. Don't come back with three things. Get one thing." And I would always just like grab something here or there. And that was back when like DVDs were big and popular. We didn't have streaming.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I remember specifically in college, and this is the problem with collecting. It always starts with like, oh, I want all of these movies. And then it slowly but surely increases to like
Yep.
more and more and more. But it all started with me wanting all the Pixar movies. That's how it really, really started. Like that was the first time I remember saying, like, I'm gonna spend my own money and buy all the Pixar movies. And at that time, I'm thinking, like, oh yeah, that's good. I might, get a few other movies here and there, but then you just start to go crazy like damn, I want all the old Disney movies, I want all the
Mhm.
Marvel movies, I want all the movies directed by this person, or all the movies that are starring this guy, or that girl. It becomes really unwieldy. So you fast forward 10 years and all of a sudden you have like probably thousands and thousands of movies
Yeah, I'm
somehow
sure.
in this place. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what was you saying your collection was all Disney in college? Really? I thought it was more than that.
That's how it started, but like by the time it started to grow, it definitely started to accumulate more things. I would get a lot of the newer movies that were coming out at that time. Like if I went to go see something in theaters while we were at school, I would get it a few months later when it would come out. So it definitely started to build when we were there in college. Like it was not small by any means, especially like at that point, like Netflix was pretty much up and running. Like they were going. So people
Yeah.
started to see like, oh, I don't really need to buy these anymore, but they weren't
Mhm.
completely sort of phased out as much as they are now. But again, like once you really become like a full grown person who's responsible for all your decisions, and it's like, oh yeah, I got a little bit of money I can spend on this, it becomes a whole thing. So yeah, it definitely
Did,
grew.
did you go to Target or Walmart to get those movies?
Oh, at school it was always Walmart. Like that was around the corner. That was easy. It was like you pop
Around the
over
corner from
there,
Campus Lodge.
around the corner from Campus Lodge or wherever we were staying. And what they used to do at Walmart, it was 24 hours, that one that we
Yeah.
had near us. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, and I don't know what gave me this thought. I don't know why I thought that Walmart was going to operate like a midnight showing at a movie theater. I would go for a midnight release of a movie if I was really, really like dying to get that copy, thinking like they probably might put it on the shelf at 12:30. And I would get there. Most of the time they wouldn't, because like they're not thinking about that. Like I'm gonna put Avengers Age of Ultron on the shelf at 12:30. Like they're gonna get it up the next day. But sometimes it would be up there and I would walk away pretty happy and go pop the movie in.
That's funny. That's hilarious. College days swiftly pass.
Man.
Speaking of college, you remember I used to whoop your ass in NBA 2K11?
Okay, all right. Don't sit here and tell that narrative. I mean, man, when I would say that some of these games would end in the most fugazi way ever, like we would be locked in 4 quarters for 36 minutes, and then all of a sudden, I ain't gonna lie, Javon would start busting my ass like at the very end. He would put in some sort of cheat code or something, and it would just go crazy. And all of a sudden, I would lose, and I would get very, very upset because I was not accustomed to losing a 2K in college. I was pretty good. So yeah, you got me. You got me a few times.
Hey, what's crazy is, and I don't know who got those belts, but you remember when we used to play, what was that? WWE 2K13, maybe?
I think it was 13. Yeah.
And we would like tag team up, and whoever won the belts or whatever. I wonder who was the last champions and kept the belts. Probably like Malcolm or somebody who done lost it by now.
Oh no. We won those belts. Me and Derek got them belts off of Malcolm's
you and Derek
ass.
do.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Gotcha.
yeah, Malcolm, he formed an alliance with Thomas at that time. And they were good. They were good. Do not get me wrong. But Malcolm would kind of bounce around between partners. But finally Thomas, like him and Thomas had chemistry, and he decided to go buy some championship belts one day to proclaim, that they're the best. And he put the belts up on the line, and we got in their ass and took them belts from them and retired. I put those belts up no more. I walked away as a undisputed champion for sure after that.
Bro, that is hilarious, man. Good times, man. I forgot all about them belts. Wait, you said you still got them?
I don't know. I had one. Derek had another. Those things are. I know I don't have it here in New York. It might be back in St. Louis, somewhere like.
I bet you still got it.
It's probably in a box. Yeah,
somewhere.
once you move and stuff gets transferred, it's probably in a box somewhere taped up. So,
have y'all played any video games recently?
Man, that's all I do.
What system you got? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. What system
all
you
of
got?
them.
You got a PS5?
Yeah.
Bro,
Des got them all thrice over.
Got them all, bro.
Bro, I'm finna add you right now, man. What you be playing on PS5?
Man, so right now it's mainly single player stuff. I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy right now.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 7 remake, stuff like that.
How is Hogwarts Legacy?
Oh, it's great. It's an amazing game. It's a little tedious with some of the side random stuff on the map, but the story is fun. The combat system's fun. It's a good game. Were you
into Harry, or were you already into Harry Potter before?
Yeah, for sure. I was. Absolutely.
Jordan, were you into Harry Potter? I don't remember ever hearing you talk about Harry Potter.
Oh yeah. Big Harry Potter fan. I didn't grow up reading the books. Like I had read the first book just because of school. I didn't follow, but the movies for sure. And that just kind of carried over to everything else. Yeah.
What house y'all in?
I am a Ravenclaw.
I too am a Ravenclaw.
And I'm a Ravenclaw. Wow.
Okay.
We all deuces, Ravenclaws, same organization.
Deuce Ravenclaws. Deuce Ravenclaws. That's kind of badass. I like that.
Hard.
Definitely, man. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I never really got into Harry Potter. I'm gonna tell y'all why. So when I was in elementary school, right, we used to go to this after school program in our neighborhood, whatever. But sometimes we would have to go to our granny house, which is like literally a street over from our elementary school. My cousin, she had a Harry Potter lunchbox, right? She taken it to my granny house. My granny saw it. She was like, "Don't you bring that damn witchcraft in my house." And my cousin had to sit her lunchbox on the porch until it was time to go.
Oh my God.
From there, like I never really got into Harry Potter until like I was older and working, and I hear, people at work saying, "Oh yeah, I'm a Ravenclaw, I'm a Hufflepuff." And one time I went to Universal Studios and Harry Potter World was there, and I was just like confused because I'm like, why is kids drinking butterbeer and You know, my head was hurting, so I just turned around and left out of Harry Potter world. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten into it, kind of understand the language, things of that nature. So, and I've been thinking about getting that Hogwarts game, because really all I play is like 2K and Madden, really.
Mhm.
But so yeah, Jordan, you really don't want to see me today on 2K.
Oh, I'm well out the game. I'm not up to speed like I used to be. I can tell you that. But the Harry Potter stuff is so interesting because I felt like I've heard from so many black people specifically in black families, and people that did not grow up with Harry Potter. It was a very similar situation to what you just mentioned. They would say like, yeah, I never got into it because my parents didn't allow me because they thought that it was some witchcraft wizardry. Like we just didn't allow that to be in our home. And I just always found that it's so interesting. But I think it makes a lot of sense though. A lot of black households, like very spiritual people, very much believe in a lot of different things of that nature. And any sort of sign of something being I guess supernatural or for lack of a better term, unholy, maybe.
Unholy is the word.
It's not going to be a thing in the household. So it
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense actually. And I didn't realize how much of a thing that was for a lot of people growing up.
Definitely. My granny house, hell no. Not happening at all. Let's get back into the movies though. Outside of, Marvel and Harry Potter, what would you both say? You might need some time to think about this. I mean, I don't. I kind of know what my favorite movies of all time are. But
Uh-oh.
if you were to name 3 movies off the top of your head, that's your favorite, what would they be?
Oh man, this is always such a problem
I'll
for
go
me.
first.
Okay.
All
Die
right.
I like to hear
Hard,
this.
Die
Oh,
Hard,
okay.
Toy Story,
Uh-huh.
and it's a tie between like Triple X State of the Union and
Oh,
Space Jam. Where I thought I was going with that.
I did
I don't
not
know,
Triple
not
X State
Triple
of the
X.
Union.
I really like that movie.
You didn't even say the first Triple X. You said the one with Ice Cube, right?
Ice Cube, yes.
Ice Cube.
I really like that one. I really liked it.
Man,
It's
I
a tie
respect
between that
that.
and Space Jam.
Yeah, I respect it for sure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
respect
yeah.
that a
I
lot.
really like those. I can watch those movies over and over and over. I can quote Space Jam from start to finish. Like, and I want to throw in the Fridays, but that's kind of basic, like because I can quote those movies over and over and over.
Mhm.
But
So how'd you feel about the new Space Jam? Like, was that did you see it at all? The LeBron James one?
I'm gonna say what you said about Super Mario Brothers. It wasn't made for me.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
made for younger kids,
Yeah.
So I think it was fine for them. Um, which I mean, Space Jam was made for us when we were kids, So, um, I think the concept was, I guess, up to par with today's society.
Mhm.
Of course, it's not better than the first Space Jam, of course, because Michael Jordan's the GOAT and LeBron's not. LeBron's probably the second GOAT. We not finna go there though.
It's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, a
Whole
whole
nother
nother
conversation.
conversation.
Mhm.
But I thought it was all right. I watched it. I've only watched it once. So I'll probably never watch it again. But yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all are probably in the same boat on that one.
Yeah.
Man,
Algae rhythm.
right, exactly. I guess 3. Yeah, this by no means is representative of all my favorites, but if I had to just name 3, I always go to Back to the Future. That
Oh,
movie, it just
yeah.
unlocked so much of my imagination as a kid. That whole concept of time travel and the way that they executed it and the performances and the story. I mean, it's a flawless movie, and I didn't invent saying that. So many people say it, and I think it's true for the case of Back to the Future. Another one I would say, which really impacted me, and I didn't see it until high school actually, is Do the Right Thing. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Very seminal movie, I think, for me, just like really understanding the concept of, just how people talk to each other on a day-to-day basis, like what it's really like to just be on the street and talking to each other, and how that can like all of a sudden turn into like, yeah, like these people low-key hate each other and they're saying like all sorts of racist shit. And it's just a part of like the underlying tension. Like it's not blatant. It's just like they're part of like the everyday fabric. And a third one, I mean, I guess Basic Choices. It's a basic choice, but again, another movie that I just watched endlessly for so much of my young life. The Dark Knight was a game changer.
Definitely.
That took things to another level for me. That changed my whole perception of like what this movie stuff is about. That really kind of it really activated, I think, in me like all the stuff that sort of manifested into what we're doing today with Two Black Nerds. So that has a special place.
For sure. Des, you had enough time. Top 3.
Man, I'm gonna stay away from The Dark Knight just because Jordan said it. It is, it's just, it's what, yeah. I think we all understand what The Dark Knight
Yeah,
has
definitely.
meant. Man, The Best Man used to be one of my favorite movies. I really love The Best Man. Just one of the early representations of just blackness. There's
Gotta love the
no
hood classics. Gotta
a
love it.
hood classic, but what I love about it is there is no like money struggles really in The Best
Yeah.
Man. It's just like black people living.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of my the earliest representations of black people just living. I really love that movie. Man, Superbad. I love Superbad, bro. That's a movie I could quote beginning to end too. Like, I don't know, everywhere to Superbad. What
I
a
used to
crazy
have that movie
movie.
on like PSP, like you put the
Yep.
movie in PSP. I had that
Mhm.
mug on PSP. That was a good
Yep.
movie.
Great movie, man. And the third one, oh man, I get so many choices that can be made. Let's do. I'll do something slightly newer. I really like the movie Black Dynamite, man. Black
Wow.
Dynamite is great. I really
Okay.
love Black Dynamite. I don't think we talk about it enough. Maybe people didn't
We
get
don't.
it, but we don't talk about Black Dynamite enough, man. It's a great movie.
We don't talk about it enough at all. It's a lot of those old movies that I feel like are like timeless that like you can just watch over and over, bring it up, remake it in today's society with the same format, and it'll still be like a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
So many of those black movies that I love, that I feel that way. What's one movie though that you would like to see? I guess another sequel to.
I mean, what's left? There's sequels to everything at this point.
I ain't seen another Friday yet.
Right? Like they've been working on that. I feel like since I was like a teen. Like they've been talking about another Friday, and they just haven't gotten to it. So I mean, it's like everybody else is getting a sequel. Why not? Why not Friday? Um, Man, that is a really good question, just because of like kind of the landscape, and we talk about this all the
Mhm.
time on the podcast. Like everything is getting some sort of sequel these days, or at least getting remade. To sort of update the story, bring in new characters and a new perspective. I I mean, I guess if I had to go sequel route, like another entry into something, I would say, and it doesn't seem like he's going to do this. We actually just talked about this on the podcast, Des. I want to see another Kill Bill movie.
Oh,
Yes.
Because I
Yes,
think
yes,
that
yes, yes, yes.
there's a lot more I think you can do there, just based off if you've seen Kill Bill, like the first one. There's loose threads in that one. There's a couple of loose threads in the second one. Like there's a lot of stuff they could do, and Uma Thurman's daughter is literally acting right now, like she's an actual
She's here.
actress. And
crazy.
so,
Hmm.
if you just want to like continue that story and not only have her come back and portray that character again, but also like have somebody younger and do it for a new generation, I think it's just like open and right there. It seems like he might not do it, and kind of leave it at the second one. But if I had a wish list, that would be at the top.
The great
I,
pick.
I thought you was gonna say like a Saw 12 or something.
Oh, please. Definitely not. Definitely
Not Saw
not.
12. That's happening.
Dad, so you agree with Kill Bill?
I absolutely really do like that pick. I guess I can throw another wrench. Actually, probably another one of my favorite movies. There's just so many favorite movies that I have. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, man. I would love to see another iteration of that movie. Just like, yeah, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great.
Aren't they doing an anime? Sort of like I think they're doing it. It's not. I don't know if it's technically a sequel to your point though, but I think that
Hmm.
they might be doing like some sort of anime, or I don't
They
know. But
did a
that
lot
that
of they did a lot of games, I know, or not a lot of
mm,
games, but a couple games. But I don't know if they like did like cartoon anime thing. I don't. They could be. Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. But
that's an incredible
Scott
movie
Pilgrim
though.
versus the World, man. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Some good movies. Going back to the superhero theme, who would y'all say is y'all favorite superhero of all time?
Oh, that's easy for me.
That's
It
easy for me too.
always it's always been Batman, Bruce Wayne, man. It is literally the first superhero I ever had sort of a relationship with. Take that however you want to take it. I know it probably sounds weird, but that was just like the first one that I remember seeing on screen, both at home and also in the movies. The first superhero movie that I ever saw in theaters was Batman Returns. Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer. That was the sequel to the first Batman. I wasn't alive when the first one came out. Batman Returns came out, saw that, incredible, and changed me. And then all the other stuff that came out at that time. Batman the Animated Series was hot and just
Yeah.
changed everything for like superhero animation in the TV realm. And then we went a while without like really good Batman movies. Like we got a few that weren't that great. And then just the reemergence, of course, like
Yeah.
with what Chris Nolan and Christian Bale accomplished. Batman Begins was incredible. Dark Knight comes out, really just changes everything. So it was just a character that was, at all stages of like really important developmental times for me. Sort of as I was coming of age, Batman had always had a presence, whether it was like in the comics, the movies, TV, whatever it was. And so just has always been the guy for me.
Easy. Des?
I'm gonna distinguish a little bit because I have like a favorite comic and I think a favorite superhero. And so my
Okay.
favorite comic will always be X-Men. X-Men has just so many layers, so many characters, so many X-Men. X-Men is just it's everything to me. My favorite character though would probably always be Spider-Man.
Okay.
Spider-Man is just kind of similar to Jordan. He was like the first character I really had a relationship with. I had Spider-Man blanket. I seen the my mom took me to see the movies because I begged her to go see the Spider-Man movies. And it was just, yeah, it was Spider-Man everything when I was little. So yeah, those are probably my picks.
I'm going with my favorite superheroes, plural, Power Rangers. Power
Mm,
Rangers.
I like
Mighty
that.
Power
Morphin
Rangers.
Power Rangers, the movie.
I like that.
I remember when that movie came out. That's probably one of my other favorite movies of all time as well.
Yeah,
I
Yes.
love that movie.
absolutely.
I'm going Power Rangers because Des, you just mentioned, having a Spider-Man blanket. Like after I had a Barney room, I had a Power Rangers room. And
It's a good
everything Power
upgrade.
Rangers. I still have my 3-foot white Power Ranger in a box.
Wow, that's
What's
a
crazy?
collectible.
What's crazy,
Whoa.
Jordan, is I don't think you remember this, but 2014 Alpha Week, I came back. I left our picnic,
Mhm.
to come back to East Saint for my dad's 75th birthday party. And he had told me, he's like, "Hey, I got this doll that's been in my house, in my garage for the longest." And my mom was telling me, like, "Yeah, your daddy got that white Power Ranger in his garage," and I never really thought of
Wow.
it. But then he,
Mm.
at his birthday party, he gave it to me. I was like, "Daddy, you done had this since like '95, bro. Like, I'm glad you kept it. Thank you."
Yeah, that's
And
incredible.
yeah, and I still got it now, man.
Oh,
I
yeah, hold on to that. That is
uh,
especially since he just
ex
recently passed
man, for
away,
real, man.
That's
And
yeah.
I've been trying to get to like a convention to like get him to sign it. Like he was, so I go to like AGP to work with them or whatever, Atlanta
Yeah.
Greek Picnic for those who don't know. And they were actually there the same year I was down there, and I was trying to
Wow.
figure out a way to get that doll down there to get him to sign it, bro. So I'm asking, Frat, like, "Hey, who driving down there? Can y'all bring this 3-foot doll, put it in y'all trunk, and bring it down here for me so I can get it signed?" But I never got it accomplished, man. And that's one thing that I regret that I didn't do was get it signed by Tommy Oliver.
Yeah. Wow, man.
Wow.
That's an incredible collectible to always hold on to. I mean, that is you can't find that anywhere, right, at this
At
point in
all.
time. So you gotta hold on to that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But no, Power Rangers. Power Rangers it is, man.
Love
Great
that.
pick.
Yeah. I just saw this on social media, I want to say about 2 days ago, and this was about Infinity War, where I guess they deleted 45 minutes of Thanos acquiring the first stone. Have y'all heard about that?
Did hear about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They need to go ahead and release that, dog, because the streets need to see. The streets need to see that. They need to put that on Disney Plus or some, the extended, the Thanos version, the Thanos cut, whatever you want to call it, because
Hey,
we need to see that.
I think as it relates to that, I have really interesting feelings about that because I did read that and I thought like, that's interesting that they conceived that and didn't like go through with releasing it. I do wonder though, just like in hindsight, and this could just be sort of like the benefit of hindsight talking, but I do wonder if having that 45-minute sequence would have been as emotionally impactful as it was seeing him just whoop the dog shit out of Hulk in the beginning of the movie, like just go crazy on him, just because we knew that character. And I think him acquiring the Power Stone in the beginning, like that probably would have been dope to see. But I don't know if we would have known anybody in that sequence outside of Thanos. Like we would have just seen him just like killing a bunch of like random people on that planet, which
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch it. I'll still see it if it's there, if it exists. But I think to really get you, like that whole sequence between Hulk and Loki and Thor, like those are characters we know and have a relationship with. And so I think that them starting there probably, at least in my opinion, was probably the better decision.
Yeah, watching Hulk get smashed was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this dude ain't playing. But no, I really do hope they release that. So, Jordan, if you get any insider information of them releasing it, just make sure you let me know. All right? No, I'm just kidding. I ain't trying to get you fired enough from your job, or
And they always watching. They always watching.
They always watching. Feds always watching, man. What's up with the BET Awards this summer, man?
What's up with them?
I think I might come out to LA for the BET Awards this summer, dog. I think I
can tell you. I can tell you that they're happening. I can tell you that it will be in LA. And I can tell you that it will be Sunday, June 25th. That's what I can tell you. What in all seriousness, no, what I will say about the BET Awards this year specifically, unlike just like any other year, this is the 50th anniversary of hip hop that everybody is sort of recognizing as a really seminal year for hip hop. And if you watched the Grammys a couple of months ago, I think we all sort of saw the medley of the talent that they assembled and put together for that, which was incredible. It was great to see them put together all those eras and pay tribute to hip hop and what it's contributed to the culture for 50 years. What I'll just say about BET and the BET Awards is that it just won't be, it ain't just going to be a medley. I'll say that. It just ain't going to be a medley because we are BET, because it is the BET Awards. That gives us the opportunity to do something across everything that we're doing, not just for 13 and 14 minutes within the middle of the show. This can be something that is really the framework of the entire show. This can be something that makes up everything that we do leading up to the award show, and then of course even after, because BT has the hip hop awards too, and this is a year-long celebration. So it's a lot. It's a lot cooking. It's a lot cooking right now. We're in the midst of. We're really in the thick of it right now. I'm definitely in the thick of it. So I can't wait to get there. Yeah, I can't wait to get there and eventually get past it. But it should be an incredible year. I definitely, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and LA is of course always the perfect spot to be, especially since we all just left there about, what was that? 3 weeks ago we were out there for WrestleMania. Yeah, is that right?
Was it 3 weeks?
Maybe not even 3. Not even 3. It's like
Dang,
2.5, 2 and some change.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems so long ago now,
yeah.
But it was really just a couple weeks ago, and that was amazing too. Like, for us to be in a suite in SoFi Stadium, like, that was pretty lit. So I'm looking forward to this Philly show. We're gonna have to do a part 2 of this suite thing again, but bring our coats this time, because it's gonna be cold in Philly for sure.
Yeah, no, Mania was incredible, man. It was a great time. And yeah, like you said, to get the suite with everybody was I mean, I couldn't have envisioned that a few years ago when we were going initially. Just never conceived that was something that would be accessible, because I didn't even know the process of like, well, how do you get a suite? Just didn't have any idea about that. But of course, I think all of us are just like super passionate. We all grew up with wrestling all our lives. All three of us on this call, like, we have been day one fans since we were this big, so I think once that became an option, and everybody just kind of got tapped into it, we were all like, well, hell yeah, like we should do this, like, let's go big. And now that we've done it, I don't know about y'all, but it ain't no going back.
It's no going back. The Wale Mania, the suites, like, it's no going back at all from here. Like, it's let's rinse and repeat the same every year. Wale Mania, suites, whatever we want to do in that city, hey, we gonna get it done.
Javon, was that your first Mania in person?
My very first WrestleMania, and it was amazing up until the main event. But yeah, I was all right. I'm gonna tell y'all. I told Des and Jordan this, but I was disappointed in the main event because I was thinking, it's LA, it's Hollywood, so The Rock, I got on this Rock T-shirt. I'm thinking The Rock about to come out. He did not. So I I was a little disappointed, but it was an overall good show, a great experience for sure, especially being able to meet the wrestlers we met at Wale Mania.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
by the way, did you catch the conversation with me and Omos Jordan?
Not the details of it. No.
So Kevin, so he had on Kobe Grinches, right? And Kevin said, "Hey, he worked for Nike." And I said, he's like, "Oh, you work for Nike?" I was like, "Yeah." So he's like, "Oh, can you give me some retros?" And I'm not finna tell no 7'3" dude no, so he can whoop my ass or something. So, um, I found him some retros, and I sent them to him.
You
Uh,
found Omos retros. His 7'3" self. You found a size that fits that foot.
yes, I did, and I sent them
Wow.
to him, and he is very
Wow.
grateful.
Retro
Yeah.
what?
13s playoffs,
13s?
13s.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, okay. Playoff
Playoff
13s. I like
13s. He
it.
got the playoff 13s, man. So, yeah, I went ahead and sent those to him.
Hey, that is
Yeah,
that's incredible. I was gonna ask y'all about, first time down in Mania. It really is one of those experiences where it's like you have to be there to really understand how just the wrestling community shows up. Like when WrestleMania comes to any town, like all the fans are out there, and who's a wrestling fan because like people got the shirts on, they got the cosplay
the
going, they got the
belts.
belts.
Hmm.
Everybody just pulled up like ready to have fun, especially because of a few years being kind of off. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious, like y'all with the first time down, like how was that for you, just seeing that whole thing sort of come to life in that way?
Yeah, go ahead, Des.
Yeah, man. I know for me, in some ways it was surreal. I literally have been watching WrestleMania on TV for since I've been alive. You know what I'm saying? And so to actually be there in person was just, I think, different. And I also think I knew how into wrestling everyone was, but it's so different in person because, of course, we all pulled up with our belts and stuff. I'm like, man, we gonna be not necessarily like super exclusive or anything. I knew other people would have belts, but the amount of people that had belts and crazy shirts, and people had not only, of course, new superstar shirts, but there's Jake the Snake shirts and Roddy Piper shirts, and of course Undertaker shirts. As just it was really cool to see. I think the culture, I think again, you're used to watching from a couch. You can only see what the screen gives you versus actually being a part of WrestleMania, man. Really, low key, it's a conference. Like they could call it WrestleMania Con if they want to, because that's what it feels like. Everyone there is on the same page. I'm sure everyone can have some kind of wrestling conversation of some kind. Yeah, it just felt like a wrestling convention. So yeah, it was really great. It was amazing.
Man, and I echo everything Des just said. And like with me, like growing up, um, so Todd, who was there, y'all, I used to go over to his house to watch the pay-per-views in like elementary school because my mom and stepdad wasn't paying for it. My stepdad was the reason why I got into wrestling altogether, but they weren't paying for it. So I used to go to Todd's house. And then once I started going to school in St. Louis, I kind of lost the pay-per-view viewing perspective a little bit until I got to college when the WWE network came out and things of that nature. So that's when I started being able to watch WrestleMania on a consistent basis. And to finally be in the building of WrestleMania was like amazing to see all 150,000 fans combined for both nights there, chanting for their favorite wrestlers, booing the wrestlers they hate. Just that experience as a whole, and to be with a close knit group, as we were, because like for me, okay, for example, like it's y'all on this side that I know, but then it's also my homies from East Saint that I know, like Todd and Jill and things of that nature, and just kind of to bring those groups together of people that I kind of grew up with, um, watching wrestling. It was just a good time overall, and I really enjoyed it. And kind of like how you were saying, Jordan, we can't stop here. Like we got to keep that train going because I mean, that's an amazing experience. And for this to be my first WrestleMania experience, like in the suite and Wale Mania and all that stuff, like I can't imagine what y'all was doing before. Like, does this top your experience, Jordan?
Oh, I think we might have peaked. Unfortunately, it's going to be it's going to be very difficult to exceed what we accomplished in LA. I mean, we literally had that conversation at Wale Mania. Like, damn, did we just low key kind of peak on this fifth one? That was like the group that we had came with. It was like our fifth one. I'm like, man, I don't know if Philly can do it. We're gonna have to see how Philly holds up compared to LA, Los Angeles of all places, because the city plays a huge role in it, and it's always super different. I think when we went to New Orleans one year, I mean, that was incredible just because everybody's going to the same place in New Orleans. Everybody's going to Bourbon Street, so like every night, everybody's in the same place. Everybody's chanting and doing all the wrestling stuff. The bars are playing wrestlers' theme songs, like literally in the middle of Bourbon Street. It was nuts, but you come to New York, which was like the last time that we had All Actively Win, and I got a chance to host a good amount of the guys. That was completely different because, to be quite honest, we didn't engage with any wrestling activity until the show itself, just because it was like New York. And a lot of them just wanted to be in New York and experience the city. Like, we weren't really thinking about wrestling. That was just kind of like the icing on the cake. Versus LA, I felt like it was a great balance. Like, I think everybody got a chance to just be in the city, enjoy LA, enjoy the okay weather, because it wasn't the LA that I think we all are used to having, but then still having like a nice mix of the wrestling stuff in there too, between like the Wale Mania, of course, like 2 nights for WrestleMania now. So I definitely just wanted to shout you out for being like one of the key players and bringing all these groups together, because it was like 30 of us, in that suite, and I think you gotta have somebody that's mutual, and I know you and Kevin and a couple of others were really instrumental in getting all of that together. So shout out to y'all, and like you say, we just got to keep it going.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Man, I can't wait for the next one. Oh, and Philly too. Oh, well, you are Eagles fan, so I know you really can't wait to get to Lincoln Financial Field.
Well, I used to, growing when I was really, really into I grew up an Eagles fan, and I've never been to Lincoln Financial Field. I never thought I would get a chance to go, just because I hadn't been into football as much lately. But it'll be interesting. It's an interesting dynamic being in a complete outdoor stadium, especially in a town like Philly, which at the beginning of April, it's probably going to be quite cold. It's probably going to be very, very, very brisk. So I think a suite, non-negotiable. We need some comfort, while we're in that stadium, but it should be decent.
Yeah, I need to bring out my Nike boots for that. I ain't gonna be ready for that.
Docs, boots, Tims, whatever you got, just bring them. Bring them.
Well, my employer, I got to shout them out, so I have to throw in Nike boots.
Can't forget that. Yeah, you can't be throwing out any name out here. You got to remain loyal. I get it.
Exactly. No, but so what's next up for Two Black Nerds, y'all? What y'all got cooking?
That's a good question.
Great question.
I mean, we're always talking. We're always talking about stuff. I think in the immediate future, like we got a couple of things in the works in terms of, well, one, new merch. Definitely can be on the lookout for new merch coming. And I'll let Des talk about the merch because so that just expect that. Outside of that, though, I would say that I feel like we're really we're really in a place of like focusing on cultivating these communities that we're building. Like, the podcast it's moving, it's efficient, we do it, we know the format. Like, we've been doing that for 3.5 years now, so we've learned that. I think the other big areas that we're really focusing on are cultivating these communities, building out this YouTube channel. We really launched video in a big way at the top of the year, which we had been talking about for a while now, but I think finally got to a place where it could be more sustainable. So really focusing on video a lot, having people see our faces. TikTok was a big reason for that, to become present on that platform. And boy, is the conversation colorful on TikTok. I can say that. It's definitely lively over there. So I'm grateful for that we can like build out engagement and conversations in new ways. So that's definitely a focus. The only other thing that I would mention, I guess at this particular point, that we always kind of talk about, but are kind of really trying to focus in on, is just ways to continue to branch out and get other people on the show and participate in other shows like what we're doing today. We've participated in other podcasts, like other people just sort of in this network. I think we're in this kind of network of like young podcasters, especially like Black podcasters, who are all just like trying to hustle and get their brands off the ground and build communities. And it's nice to be a part of that community and have people like come on our show, go on their show. So I think just like finding more opportunities to really focus on that stuff to help, keep things diverse and fresh and get new perspectives and opinions.
You know, it's crazy. Y'all two black nerds and y'all both deuces. I just realized
Yep.
that. Have y'all realized that? I'm sure y'all
Yeah, we
realized
talked
that by
about it.
now.
We
Okay,
talked about it.
okay. Gotcha.
Full
Y'all see
circle.
the deuce in the back. Y'all see it in the back. I had to make sure that
Mhm.
deuce was there. Y'all see? Okay, cool. Des, talk about the merch.
Man, we just got done with our two Black Panthers Forever collection, man, where part of the proceeds is going to the Colon Cancer Foundation in memory of the late Chadwick Boseman. And so shutting down that campaign and moving on to another one, man. Can't tell the people what it is yet, but just know it's coming very, very, very soon, and it's great. Me and Jordan like it a lot. And yeah, we're excited to get it out when the time is right, man. But yeah,
Make sure you let me know.
twoblacknerds.com. Mm-hmm.
As Kevin always say, page me. Let me know when that thing come out so we can post it, dog.
Might give you a sneak peek, man, for having us on. Might just have to,
right.
give you a little look real quick off the podcast. Yeah, a little exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hot.
Access. I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I can dig that. There ain't no problem. There ain't no problem. There ain't no problem at
Ain't
all.
no problem.
I'm glad you caught what I was going.
Mm-hmm.
How can they follow y'all? What's the socials? Y'all personal socials or the Two Black Nerds, the website? This is y'all space to advertise whatever.
Yeah, all of that. I personal, if you want to follow me, JRW the creator, Twitter, Instagram specifically. All the other stuff for the podcast is consistent everywhere. Two Black Nerds, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Easy to find. The number two, not the
number
spelling
two.
of two. That is important. A lot of people have gotten that confused over the years. They would go like search on Apple or Spotify like TWO Black Nerds, and something else would pop up, and I'm like, that ain't us. Like you need the number. That the two is very intentional. So but yeah, it's consistent everywhere. You can follow us on all social media.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to put out your personal?
Oh yeah. Just Desmundo on Twitter. It used to be just Desmond, but Drake kind of got my Twitter account suspended.
You're not about to skip over that. What? Say that again. What happened?
We used a Drake song on one of the episodes of the podcast, and it got DMCA struck.
Oh,
and they just deleted my whole Twitter account. It was like, oh, goodbye, because we used the song that we used in the podcast in the episode to promote. So all I did, I think it was Feel No Ways. It was Feel No Ways by Drake.
Yeah.
It was like, and they flagged it and got rid of my account right there, man. So now
it don't help that I got on an OVO shirt.
Oh wow! Oh, look at that. This is all connected. All in the service of Two Black Nerds, man. My man sacrificed his Twitter page, his well-built Twitter page at that. Like this wasn't just any Twitter account. Like
a decent amount of followers.
Decent amount of people on there in the service of the podcast.
But yeah, just Desmundo on Twitter. And then my Instagram is Delusional. It's like delusional, but with an A between the D and the E. Delusional, DAE Lusional. So yeah.
What about that photog page, the cosplay page, man?
I do on occasions do cosplay photography as well.
Okay.
That's just delusional cosplay. Yeah. My main page, a lot of people know there's a lot of photography on there as well. But I've made another outlet specifically for mainly Black photography, Black cosplay photography. There's a lot of Black conventions out here going crazy. And when I attend, man, I like to capture Black people in that element of cosplay. So that's delusional cosplay on Instagram as well.
For sure. All right, guys. Man, I really appreciate y'all coming, man. Like
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. I had to get y'all on, man, because y'all doing a lot of great things. And like I said, I'm always watching y'all, seeing what y'all doing, man. So, and I'm a big supporter of what y'all doing. So, and I will continue to support.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. When we talk about XXX State of the Union, we'll be sure to call you.
Damn. Hey man, you ain't have to call me out like that, dog. Come on, man. Like that's my movie, dog. And Ice Cube is like one of my top 5 favorite rappers too. So
I love it.
He automatically gets the W from that
for sure.
Off rip. But no, that's it, man. Trying to think if it's anything else I want to ask or throw out there.
Man, what I would just, I guess it's just like a way to sign off. I would just want to quickly give everybody a thank you for people that do tap into Two Black Nerds, specifically you yourself, of
Yeah.
course, and for inviting us on to here.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate that. But then just also other people who've been rocking with us, who always reshare our stuff, who always like our stuff, who send in comments. Like, we're just transparently, like, we're not out here with like a million followers or anything like that. Like, it's a very niche community of people that follow us, but the people that constantly just come back and bring up conversations and talk to us and find us. Like, I've had people find me, and I would maybe know them, like, or have like a mutual between us, but didn't know them really well, and they would find me like, oh yeah, you are one of the Two Black Nerds, right? And I'm like, yeah, how do you even know about that? So I just want to say thank you to people that tap in and support us in any way, whether it's listening, whether it's watching on YouTube, whether it's buying merch, buying a mug, a shirt, whatever it is. Like, that stuff means a lot, because you don't have to do that. You don't have to dedicate your time.
Mhm.
You don't have to set aside, those precious minutes or hours of the day to listen to us. But if the people that continue to come back, and it's grown, that continue to do so, it's special. It's reassuring. It's a big reason why I know I keep going, and continue to do it. Just that motivating factor. And so, always just appreciative for people like you, Javon, and of course, all the other people that are out there, just like constantly supporting and helping us out in any way.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Well, you heard it from Des and Jordan, the Two Black Nerds. You can follow them at Two Black Nerds, and make sure you tune in. They be having some good, reactionary videos from when they, finish watching whatever said movie. Like I said, they watch every single movie. So if you ever want to hear a good review, make sure you tune into Two Black Nerds. And also listen to their podcast as well on all podcast platforms. I am Mr. Prophytes Be Like, and this is the end of episode 36. As always, make sure you follow us on our Instagram, all our social media platforms at Prophytes Be Like. And also make sure you follow the Prophytes Be Like podcast on all podcast platforms, as well as, like I said at the beginning of the episode, our YouTube channel. This podcast will be in video form on the YouTube channel, Prophytes Be Like, of course. So make sure you subscribe and be ready for more episodes. Like I said, the hiatus is over. Like, I done invested into this. I got a camera, I got lights, I got a whole setup in here. Like, y'all might see the background. I had all that set up. So we doing this thing. So make sure you also follow. I forgot about the Instagram at PBL Podcast. Make sure you follow that too. And we only going up from here, y'all. So appreciate Two Black Nerds. Appreciate y'all support. And this is the end of the Prophytes Be Like podcast, episode 36. We out.